All right, yesterday we talked about solving quadratic problems where there was no middle term. There was no middle term. There was just an x squared and a constant. Do you remember how to solve this? This is just a real simple one. Do you remember what we did? Do you remember the name of it?
I don't remember the name, I remember how to do it.
It's called take the square root of both sides.
Oh.
Remember that? What you have to do is get the x squared by itself. So add 25. Do you remember this? And then take the square root of both sides. And you get plus or minus 5. And then what about if it looks something like this? X minus 2 squared equals 12. What about something like this? What would you do? Square root both sides. And then what?
X minus 2 equals
Plus or minus. How do you simplify?
2 squares.
2 square root 3. Good. And then what? Add 2.
Add 2.
Good job. Add 2. You get 2 plus or minus 2 root 3. Good.
Don't forget this. No.
Hmm?
Yeah.
Now what if it said 2x minus 2, and I'm making this up.
Is
Is
it
that a negative in front? What you put there?
Whoops, and then I have a square root of 12. This is a square root of 12. What would you do?
Did you put a negative in front of that?
No, that's just not, that's nothing. Okay, what would you do now? So you have, let me rewrite it, 2x minus 2 equals the square root of 12. Okay, what would you do now? Square root, whoops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
square root.
that's why I was.
Ah, 2x minus 2 equals 12, there.
Okay, then
Yeah,
square root.
Now square root of both sides. You get 2x minus 2 equals plus or minus 2 root 3, then what?
And then
Add 2.
Add 2, add 2,
And
And
then
then
divide
what?
by 2.
divide by 2.
Because you have something next to
Mhm.
it.
and
Now,
then
can you simplify this?
Yep,
Yeah,
take 2 out of
split
all
it
of them.
2 can go out of all of these, so it's the answer is 1 plus or minus. Good job.
square root.
Good. Okay, that's what we did yesterday. Quick review. Today, I'm going to show you another way to solve these quadratic functions. And the method is by completing the square. You did these in 9th grade. Okay? Now, this method is designed to do and solve any problem. Some that are factorable and some that are not factorable. It's designed more for the non-factorable ones because it's a process. If something's factorable, you should use the methods that we used last week and what you were tested on. But this is what you do. Here's the written directions, and I'm just going to go right into these examples. Okay, step 1 is you want to make sure, and these ones will have a middle term. They will have a middle term. But step 1 is to get a 1 in front of your x squared term. So if there is not a 1 there, you want to divide everything by that coefficient. So if you look at, hop over to B, does B have a 1 in front of x squared?
No.
No. So what would you do before you complete the square?
Divide everything.
You would divide everything by 2. Everything. So you get x squared minus 6x minus 7 equals 0. What about letter C? What would you do?
Divide and negative by negative.
Okay, so if you divide by -3, tell me what you get. X squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 0, right? So step 1 in our direction is to make sure the leading coefficient term is 1. If it is not, divide everything in the equation by the value of A. Read step 2. What does it say to do?
Move all constants C to the right side of the equal sign.
Okay, move the constant to the other side. A, the constant is on the other side, but B, where's the constant?
It's with the on the left.
It's on the left, so you're gonna move it to the other side and you're gonna get,
X squared minus 6x equals
good job. And how about letter C? Move the constant to the other side, what do you get?
x squared plus 4x equals 0.
Yes. Now, one of the mistakes that I've seen is when you guys, at this step right here, I see the 3 here and I see a 3 on the other side. That can't happen. Yeah, you did, there's your error right there, a lot of times. Okay, now, how do you complete the square? Your job is to make the left side look like these, x minus 2 squared, 2x minus 2 squared. That's what you have to do. You want to make this called a perfect square trinomial. How to do that is you take half of this middle term. What's half of negative 14?
-7.
And square that number. What do you get? What's negative 7 times negative 7? What is it?
49.
49. 49 is the magic number. You're going to add 49 to both sides. Now, 49 has to be the same on both sides. Think of a balance. If you had a scale, and if you were to add 49 pounds to one side, what would happen to your scale? What would happen to your balance? If I dropped a 49 pound weight on one side, and you go like this, right?
Yeah.
So what do I have to do to keep it balanced?
It's the same amount on that.
You do the same thing. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. Okay, now, tell me where 49 came from. How did I get 49? Did I
Took
just
half.
make that
You
number
took
up?
half of,
You took half of the middle term and I
Squared it.
squared it. Don't double it, you square it. Now, what do I have here is gonna be a perfectly squared trinomial. How do you factor it?
So you gotta know what that's
I'm gonna give you a little hint.
It's a, yeah.
When you took half of negative 14, what did you get? You got negative 7. And that's the number that's gonna go there.
so are we
So
talking
whatever
about-
that sign is gonna be that sign, okay? Now, could you please just add these two numbers for me? What's 25 plus 49?
74.
74. Now, does this problem look like what we did yesterday?
Yes.
Yes.
Where does the 49 go on the left side? So you had the 49 on top and then you, where'd it go?
We factored it. This is what we learned last,
Oh, you just had it, the 7 and
it's
7?
x, it's like this, Nick, it's x minus 7, x minus 7.
Okay,
Or x minus 7 squared.
okay.
That means the same thing, okay? Now, what do we do now?
Square root.
So,
Mm-hmm.
That's a big
Now, if you try to break this up, it doesn't, there's nothing that comes out.
Really?
No, I thought so too. You get 2 and 37, and 37 is prime, so don't waste your time. Now, what do you do with this negative 7? Mm-hmm.
Take the 7.
Are you good? Okay, go back to B now. What was the first step in solving these? I'm gonna cover up what I did. What do I do?
divide.
This is how you study for a test. You cover it up.
You divide.
Divide everything by 2. Okay, then what did I do?
Move the C value to the opposite.
C value to the other side.
And you gotta divide the
Mm-hmm.
B component by 2 and then
Square.
square.
And what do you get?
So you're 9.
9. You're gonna add 9 here, and I add 9 here. Now, how do you factor x squared minus 6x plus 9?
X minus
X, it's x minus 3 times x minus 3, or, what would you write?
X minus
X minus
Yeah.
3 squared.
So if you wanna do it like that, that's fine. And then 16 is on the right side. Now what?
Square root of.
Square root of both sides,
That's
and you
perfect
get,
square.
and yeah, x minus 3 is plus or minus 6, 4.
4.
And now add 3, so it's 3 plus 4, which is 7, and 3 minus 4, which is -1. Now, what does that tell me? It tells me that, go back to this problem right here, This was factorable. We could have factored it. We could have factored it. The way I taught you, you guys thought that factoring was so hard. Now factoring is gonna look pretty easy. Look at how quick you could have done that, and your answers are -1 and 7. But guess what? You can't factor all problems. I just showed you an example of one that you can't factor. That one's not factorable. So you need another method, because if you might be thinking, well, why can't we just factor them all? Because some are not factorable. Plain and simple. Okay? Now, let's review the last one. So, what would be my first step?
Divide everything by negative
Divide
3.
everything by -3. Then what?
Move the positive 3 to the opposite side.
And you know what? This one's factorable too. 3 and 1, so your answers are going to be -3, -1, but let's do it anyway, the long way. So you're going to take half of 4, which is 2, and square it. You're going to add 4 to both sides. And you get x plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 1. Square root of both sides. And you get x plus 2 is plus or minus 1. -2 plus 1, which is -1, and -2 minus 1, which is -3. Now, can you check these answers to see if they're right? Absolutely, you can plug them in. You can plug them in. Questions? Okay, I want you to do number 19 on your own. Everybody right now do this is one of your first homework problem. You try number 19. What'd you get?
I go with the
I wanna see what you got first. What'd you guys get? Yes.
X equals -3 plus or minus the square root of 1.
Okay, but
Same for the
simplify
two.
it. Simplify it. Can you break any of those answers down more? Maya, did you get it? Nick, what'd you get? Come on.
We'll talk about it.
-2 and -4. Ding, ding, ding. I got the same thing. Congratulations.
Oh, I never broke them down. Whoops.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Would you do?
What do you get confused on?
Like, I don't know what to do after I do the +9.
The +9?
Yeah, I guess. Right.
Okay, right, you're right here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, these are just two numbers to add, okay? And that is gonna be factored. It's a perfect square trinomial, x plus 3, x plus 3. And then you square root, this is like what we did yesterday. Take the square root of both sides. What's the square root of 1? Plus or minus 1? You get it now? Okay, let's do another one, number 21. Everybody do 21. 3 and -1. How many got 3 and -1? Half of you? Some people are still working. Some of you are still working.
That's
Some
what
of
I
you are
got,
still
it's totally what I
working.
got.
Did you get it?
No, get one. I don't know.
Subtract, so you get 3. Take half of that, square it, you get 1, add 1 to both sides, 4. Nope, it's x minus
Ooh, that's what I did wrong.
whatever. Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And then that's plus and minus 2. Okay, you're on the road. Okay. Well, practice makes perfect, trust me. Okay, let's try another one, 35. Huh? 35. I want to see all your hands up with the right answer. Then I know that we all have this. So, everyone do 35. Don't look at my work until you're done. Huh?
So unless you can swear it, you know.
Right, I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't break up
Yeah, I was just
29.
gonna ask you.
So I'm gonna leave it.
Alright.
Okay. So, how many of you get this? Raise your hand. All right, looks good, looks good, yes.
How do you get the number that you factor?
Okay, how do you get the number that you factor? You mean the 6? You take half of that number. Half of it and square it is the 36, but half of that number is what goes in the parentheses. Okay? So, how do you know what number you're gonna add to both sides? You take half of -12, which is negative, and square it, multiply it by itself. So you get 36. Half of -12 is -6, and when you square it, you get 36. But half of the -12 is the number that goes inside here when you square it. You get it?
Mr. Lindsay.
How do you know if it's a plus or a minus? Mr. Owensby, how do you know if it's a plus or minus?
By the sign.
No, the -12. The -6. I wanna know, how do you know that?
Oh, how do I know that? Because that sign's negative and the other one's positive.
It goes by that sign.
If this is positive, the signs in the middle have to be the same.
No, this one. Mr. Owensby.
No, if that's positive, these have to be the same, so since that's negative, this has to be negative. If this was
Yeah,
positive, then it has
he's
to be positive.
talking about if that's a perfect, that has to be,
What?
he's saying that has to be a positive sign, but this sign is always gonna be whatever that is.
They start dividing it by a
You're on
positive.
YouTube now.
Featuring Mr. Mr. Owensby. I almost said
J
yes.
here.
No.
I almost
You
said
can say
yes.
you almost
I
cried.
hate that.
Okay, yeah. So let's move on, go to the
Featuring Mr.
back
Owensby.
side. Go to the back side. Huh? You're doing those for homework. Okay, look at this example right here. It says, write the equation in vertex form. We did this on our test, okay? How do we find the vertex? How do we find the vertex when it's in standard, this is standard form. How do you find the vertex? Negative b over
2A.
2a. Let's find the vertex. So you're gonna write, how do you find the, what's the b value?
8.
8, so it's gonna be -8 over 2, what's the a value? 1. So what is this, -4?
-4.
How do you find the vertex now?
You
We
plug
have the,
it,
that's the axis of symmetry.
you plug it
You plug -4 where?
into the line.
Okay, so let's do that, everybody. -4 squared plus 8 times -4, and then minus 6. So you get 16 minus 32 minus 6. So it's -16 minus 6, which is -22. Did you get -22?
Is that all it
Okay.
is for these
That's
numbers?
why.
That's your y value. So now, what does vertex form look like? It looks like, here's your little recipe. It's y equals, it's the a value times x minus h
Plus,
plus k. You guys did this on your test. It said rewrite this in vertex form, and some of you guys had trouble with it. What is the a value in this problem? It's a 1, so you could put the 1 there if you want. If it's any other number than 1, you have to put it there, but a 1 you really don't. I'm gonna put it there just to show you. Now, where do I put the -4 and where do I put the -22?
And the x and k.
So x plus 4 squared minus 22. So that's what we did yesterday.
that's how you do this.
Huh?
This, okay, all right.
That's, or not yesterday, we did that on your test. Now, that's not the way I'm gonna show you how to do this. I'm gonna show you how to do this by completing the square. So now, let's look at this problem and do it another way. How do you write this in that same form by completing the square? What you do is you take, see, this is the c value. You're gonna slide the c value over. Everybody watch this. Slide this c value over, the -6, just, you don't wanna touch it. Now, if there is a 1 in front of x squared, you're ready to start completing the square. What you do is you take half of 8, what's half of 8?
4.
And square it.
16.
You're gonna add 16 here, right? Now, normally I would add 16 to the other side, but I don't wanna touch this side, I wanna keep y by itself. So, how can I add 16 here,
But keep it equal.
but keep the, make it look like I did nothing to the
Minus
problem?
16.
There you go, you figured it out. We're gonna add 16 here, and we're gonna take 16 away.
It's in the same
Because
side.
isn't 16 minus 16 0? So did I do anything to this problem?
No.
Not really. But what I did was I made this factorable. How do you factor x squared plus 8x plus 16? How do you factor it?
But you canceled the 16, so why use
Nope, you're not gonna cancel, you're gonna use this to factor that,
Okay.
to make that x plus 4 squared. And now add these two up. What do you get when you add these two? -22. Now watch. How did we do it a minute ago? We found the axis of symmetry, and we found the vertex. Now look at what we did when we completed the square. It's the same answer. Okay?
Oh my god.
Which way was quicker?
Which way do you like better?
Blew my
First.
mind.
The first way?
Yes.
Uh-huh. I like the first way better.
Because
Yes.
they practiced that way.
16 on this.
How did we get the 16? You
Half
take
eight,
half
square
of
it.
this and square it.
Oh, like we did on the.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I want you to do look at 46.
You should first.
I want you to write it in vertex form, but I want to practice the way we just did. So let's practice this. What do you do in practice? Just, you keep doing these and you'll get better at it. What do you do with the 1?
You slide it.
Slide it over, just move it away. Huh? You just move this 1, get it out of the way. You're gonna take half of 4, what's half of 4,
2,
and square that number.
4.
What do you get? You get 4. Now, I'm gonna use, pencil. If I can find one. Now, I'm gonna add 4. It doesn't even look like a pencil, does it? 4. I'm gonna add 4 here. I wanna show you that, whoops,
It's a Greek.
subtract 4.
So whatever you add, you subtract.
Now why? Somebody answer why I added 4 but took it away.
So it would be balanced.
So it looks like I did nothing, because I don't want to do anything to this side. Now why 4? Because 4 is half of this number squared. I made this a perfect square trinomial. These 3 factor to be x plus 2 quantity squared. And now this is going to be the y value of your vertex.
That is easy.
Isn't it easier?
It is.
Yeah, because you're just moving a number over.
It's easier. I'm going to show you in a minute. Okay, look at the one right underneath it. I want you to get comfortable with this method first before we do one with an a value, not a 1. What should I do with this problem?
Slide over negative
Move, just get 7 out of the way. Because see this negative 7? It's part of the y value of your vertex, okay? So, you're gonna do x squared plus 4x, and your negative 7, just get it away. Why? I need to take half of the middle term. What's half of 4? And square it. Square it. You're gonna add 4 here, but quickly take it away. Because 4 minus 4 is 0. I did nothing. Factor these 3. What do you get when you factor those 3?
x plus 2 squared
And then what's this?
minus 1.
Now, you know the vertex, you know the axis of symmetry.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So, for like, when you divide by 2 or whatever, is that always like, is 4x, it's like x plus 2, is that always half the number of 4x?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
So
yes.
it's always that?
Yes, yes. It's always half the number.
Okay.
Okay, now, what do you do? I want you to look at 47. What happens when there's, pay attention to this one, because this is the hardest part. What happens when there's not an a value here? It gets a little tricky. Okay.
There
There
is.
is an
When there's an a value that's not a 1, sorry.
Okay.
So step 1 is to still slide 1 over. Slide 1 over. Get 1 away. Okay, well, everybody watch this. This is your a value. We've got to take a out of just these 2. Remember how before we divided everything by that a value? You're going to kind of divide it, but you're keeping it in front. So you're going to pull the 2 out of these 2 right here.
GCF.
Yes, you GCF'd it out. Very good.
You keep the plus 1.
Okay, now, did everybody see what I did? I took a 2 out of these 2. Now, when you complete the square, you take half of negative 4, which is
2.
negative 2. Now, square negative 2, what do you get?
4.
4. You're going to add a 4 here. But look, did we really add 4? What did we really add?
8.
We added 8. Good. So what should I do right here?
Add 8.
Subtract.
Add 8?
Or
No.
subtract.
Subtract 8.
Take 8 away. We added 8, we're going to take 8 away. We added 8, half of 4, negative 4 is negative 2, squared is 4. We added 8, so we take 8 away. So now that's the hardest part. What do you do now? Let's factor this trinomial. What do you get when you factor that? X minus 2 squared, and then 1 minus 8 is negative 7.
So we don't really times the outside or whatever,
Outside 4.
like by the 1, because you didn't do the other one.
Wait, say it again, the outside 4. What outside 4?
Like, you know how it's like plus 4 in the parentheses?
Yeah.
And you times it, but you times the 1 by itself, that's the only one you multiply by 2?
Yes, that one, yes, yes. Okay, let's look at 48.
Negative 1.
Okay, you're gonna pull a negative 1 out of these 2. So you have a negative 1 And then you have x squared plus 2x.
Could you just solve it normal and at the end put a negative sign in front of the parentheses?
No. No, you're gonna do it this way. Okay, Sam, did you see what I did? I took out a -1 from just these two right here.
Yeah.
Now, I slid 3 over, I didn't touch it yet. Take half of 2, what's half of 2? 1, and square it. What's 1 times 1? 1. What did I really add here?
Negative.
-1, so what am I gonna add right here? A what? A +1. You want it to be 0. You wanna 0 it out. What you added, you wanna take away. So if we added -1, add 1. Now factor this.
I'm gonna find x plus 1 squared plus
And then 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay? Try 51 right underneath it, it's just like it. I know I'm skipping around, but what should you do with -1?
take it out.
Slide it over. Or you're thinking of this -1.
Yeah.
Let's first slide -1 over, the constant. Now take factor -1 out. Now take half of -4 and square it. What do you get? You're gonna add 4, but did I really add 4? It's really a -4 that I added, so we're gonna add +4. It's confusing for people. So I wanna make sure you all understand this. Now just factor. Okay, so I want you to do 50, 52, 53, 54 for homework, and then the front 3 for homework. I'm gonna give you time to practice them on your own. I will put them on YouTube. So finish the rest for homework. Which one? 51? Is anyone lost? Dan want some help?
No, I don't think
Brett,
no.
can you stop recording?
Yep.
Thank you.